everyone, Radical Gardener. Okay, so I know you've been waiting for this. I go, where's the essential oil lady? Like I started announcing this about 2 months ago, when are you going to do essential oils? Here she is. This is Kathryn Conlen. And my history with Kathryn, I think, have I known you for like 10 years?
It has
oh
been.
My God! So anyways, she was my practitioner, and that's when I realized she knows so much about health, and I was kind of in crisis when I saw you. I was kind of in rough shape, and I moved from Seattle to Detroit, and I was like, oh my God, everybody eats donuts here, and I didn't know where to go to get healthy. Of course, I've since found out there's an amazing a group of people that really know their stuff, and Kathryn's one of them. And when I would ask about who should I go see, I need to detox, and then everybody would say Kathryn Conlen. So through that relationship, we did a lot of things. We studied Kabbalah. We really have had a lot of fun together. But her knowledge on essential oils is really bar none. And she's been my go-to. And when I've had problems with voice students or really young students that are having health problems, I've sent an email over to Kathryn, and she's really been able to get me some pretty quick solutions that always seem to work. They do work, actually. So what I'm going to do now is I kind of direct this more to Kathryn. And Kathryn, just tell me, how did this all begin? I mean, how did you start being a practitioner? Where did it start? I know it didn't start in oils, right?
It didn't. Okay. So I have a degree in international studies and business, and was living in Japan, and was introduced to Chinese medicine, Chinese herbs, shiatsu massage. And so I became very interested in the healing arts. And I came back to the United States. I had thought about going to acupuncture school. And came back to the United States, and my mom said, there's this great massage school in Lapeer. Why don't you go check it out? And I had been to some acupuncture schools, so I did. And thus started my journey into the healing arts professionally. So I had been studying them for 3 or 4 years, loved herbs and teas, and I often joked that you could just feed me grass and I'd be okay, because I liked all the weird tasting Chinese herbs. So I had that as kind of part of my journey. And when I graduated from massage school, I was given 3 gifts. I was given a boombox, because every massage therapist has to have some music, right? I was given a stone, an amethyst stone. And then I was given 2 oils, peppermint and lavender, but they were from France, and they were real essential oils.
Right.
Now they were not Young Living, but they were, this amazing gift, and I just treasured those gifts. And amethyst was like my power stone, and of course I love music. You and I share that,
right.
Component there in the healing, and then the essential oils. And believe it or not, I kind of knocked on doors for about 5 years. Because this goes back to 1997, and we really didn't have a culture of essential oils in America. America itself has historically started right with the pharmaceutical revolution, basically. So us as a culture, we've either known home remedies that grandma did, cooked up in the backyard, or Native American, traditional remedies and, that kind of thing. But we didn't really necessarily have the same culture that the Europeans did, of a long history with essential oils and distillation and farming and so on and so forth. So I was literally knocking on a door, and there's a woman named Colleen Dott, and she had been to Europe, had written some of the early books on essential oils, and happened to be right in Rochester, Michigan.
Wow. Okay.
So anyhow, I would go to her garden. She would kind of have the backyard garden, and I would just ask her questions. And so anyhow, long story short, one day I walked into one of my clients, and the brother said, would you do this raindrop technique on my sister? And I said, sure. And I happened to have a good friend and colleague that did reflexology and was trained in Europe. And I showed her, I said, look they're putting essential oils directly on the body. I thought that wasn't okay. And so, she was like, all alarmed and everything. And she says, well, that's not the training I received. And so she had been trained in the English method, and there's 3 different methods of aromatherapy. There is like the British or English method, where you can smell, you can use a little bit of lavender and tea tree. And then there's like the German method where you can only really smell. And then there's the French method where you can inhale them, you can apply them topically, and you can ingest them. And so there's these different schools of thought. And so sometimes people are, alarmed when, I say, oh, you can take, some peppermint and, put it in. Because there's like right now in the world today, there's just a ton of information. Like it's information overload. And so we can do what we do with our oils because of the grade. So when I was introduced to the raindrop, I started applying the raindrops and just learning as a practitioner. And I decided to go with oils as a practitioner because it was something that I could safely do. It was a topical application, and I wanted to be within the context of my license, basically.
Right. So let me just interrupt for a minute. So what is raindrop therapy?
So raindrop is 9 different essential oils that are applied to the feet. First, the reflex zones of the feet using what's called VitaFlex. And basically what VitaFlex looks like is you're just kind of rolling over and you're applying that oil and stimulating that reflex zone that coordinates to the spine. And then you roll the person over and you're applying those same 9 oils up the back and to the spine. And they're great for promoting like healthy nervous system, healthy immune system. I use it a lot for orthopedic complaints in my practice. When someone's had accident or injury or some type of, like ongoing chronic condition.
Right.
So, we use that a ton. And that became the foundation of my oil experience.
So it wasn't just this aha moment, it was this like kind of organic, oh my gosh, this, these are really wonderful, I need to know a little bit more about this, and it just grew.
Yeah, it really has been 20 years now for me that I have, danced with the plants, if you will.
Yeah.
And I really love working with the essential oils and the plants because of their power, their efficacy, how quickly they work. For somebody.
How quick do they work and how do they work?
So an essential oil is basically the lifeblood of the plant. So 1 drop of essential oil in terms of concentration, and I'll give you kind of an analogy, 1 drop of peppermint oil might be equal to 26 cups of peppermint tea. Okay, and that's just a small analogy, but they can be hundreds and thousands and 10,000 times more powerful than the herb itself because it is the lifeblood of the plant. It is the concentration of the circulating fluid within the plant. So you're taking that concentration, and just like our own blood, that blood is what protects the plant effectively. So by using the essential oil, you just maybe take 1 drop and you have such concentrations. And it really, it's a lifelong study. But for instance, you could just take some peppermint, okay, and we could put some peppermint and we could just open up and just kind of sniff. So we could just take and for somebody that has a very sensitive nose, we could just maybe set the peppermint. And for instance, your kitties and your doggies, like your dog has 10,000 times more powerful like sense of scent than what we do. And it's why, their world is through scent. So if I just open that bottle of peppermint, chances are your puppy could like know that has been opened.
Right.
Okay, like they're going to naturally smell that. So you can just by inhaling the vapors, if you will, from the bottle itself, it naturally goes into the olfactory or the, through the nose, which directly connects to the brain. So all of our other senses that have to do. So when I hear something, it has to be relayed back to, like through the brainstem, and then it gets interpreted with the rest of the brain. The olfactory is the only one that goes directly to the brain or through to the first cranial nerve, basically. And it's so deeply connected to emotions, memory, and so our neuroreceptor sites can be really influenced by positive smells. And I would say that to those of you that are in the audience, there's some possibility that many of you that might be using some toxins at home, things like Febreze or perfumes or other things. I know this is a natural community and, people are, gardening and that kind of thing, but it's hidden in everything. It's hidden in Tide. It's hidden in all of these products, these synthetic chemicals that then kind of cloud our neuroreceptor sites. And so one of the most chronic things that I see actually in the last 10 years as a practitioner is people that can't smell, and people that are having a really difficult time focusing. And I really think of that to a degree as like their brain receptor sites have just gotten so congested and clouded. So just taking and, diffusing, and I don't have a diffuser here to show you necessarily, but taking and just simply diffusing the oils can help begin that process and keep a healthy home environment.
So, I mean, I think I read it's a matter of seconds on how quickly the brain takes the information from, like through the nose into the brain and takes that information and utilizes it. Isn't it like
it is. It's
very,
very
fast?
Yeah. And I didn't answer your question directly. I answered it indirectly.
That's
but
okay.
Because it goes directly to the olfactory, boom to the cranial nerve, and it's an immediate register.
Right.
And I'm not sure, how else to say that.
Yeah, no, that's good. Then they'll know.
And it's if there is, and I guess the point that I was trying to make is some people have a clouded version of the sense of smell.
Right.
Because of that. And we are such finely tuned human beings and so intelligent that we can literally smell so many thousands of different things, but you won't be able to. And it is actually instinctually one of our first senses, because before we knew anything else, we had to smell. Okay? In the womb, we had to smell whether something was good for us or bad for us. We didn't have sight yet.
Same with hearing.
Same with hearing. So it's just profound.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
In terms of just instinct for like what is healthy for us, and what's the first thing you do is something good, when you take it out.
Right. And I do want to apologize. You're hearing my cats yell at me. I have them behind that door, and you're all used to me having animal drama. So this is today's animal drama is that I'm actually torturing my cat. So I just wanted to be clear about it.
Don't worry, we'll diffuse oils and release
we'll
that
get a
trauma.
lot of oils afterwards. It'll be fine. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I asked Kathryn to bring an array of oils that I thought would appeal to the community that we have, and that is part of the Radical Gardener community anyways. And there's so many homesteaders and people that are prepping and people that are like really into health in a very natural way. And we're just preparing for a future where it may be hard to get things. You may not be able to get to practitioners you want to get to, and I need to be as vague about that as possible. So I said to her, bring what she thought would be a great starter kit for that element. Like for me, I could not ever live without oregano, because for me it's how I deal with infection. And actually my story is I was plagued with kidney infections, and then when I took oregano oil, I never had another one ever again. I mean, it was remarkable. And then the other thing is my husband has lung issues, and if I would take lemon and I would just a carrier oil on his chest, and if he was coughing, he'd stop coughing within minutes. So, it'd be things like that. I thought, there's no way. And then just actually a month ago, I really burned my hand, remembered the lavender story with a burn, smeared it all on my hand. It didn't burn. There was no scar. I mean, minutes later, it was gone. It was just something, So when my experience is when I've put the right oil to whatever was ailing me, it was significant. It was impressive, right? Yeah.
And they are. They work very rapidly, very quickly.
But you just have to know which ones, right?
You do.
Yeah.
So what I brought with me today, and I normally walk around with a backpack full of oils.
She does.
I really do.
She does.
So
jealous.
I have a bunch of different kits that I use as a practitioner and so on and so forth. But kind of what I brought with me today is just what we call our basic starter kit with Young Living. And I'm going to take a moment and just explain the company that I work with. They are farmers, okay? They own their own farms. Now, they don't exclusively do all of theirs, but they do own their own farms. And that sets them apart from a lot of companies that are buying things secondhand on the open market and maybe don't have the distinction of knowing the difference. Because a real farmer, somebody that is doing farmer, and the founder of Young Living, Gary Young, started his life in farming, and we are today the world's largest or leading essential oil company, and we have farms on every continent. I think we're up to 11 farms at this point, and that includes some of our co-op farms as well, and then we have what's called partner farms. So I want you to know that these farms are what allow us to have a grade of oil that is therapeutic in nature, that is safe for ingestion, and that, we, as we go through and talk about some of these things, and I'm going to speak for just a moment and just give a quick example of what I mean. So lavender was rediscovered, and it was kind of the rediscovery of essential oils basically in the 20th century. And there was a French chemist named René Gattefossé. I'm not sure that I'm saying his name correctly for all you French people out there. But anyhow, he had burned himself, and he placed his hand into a vat of lavender oil and noticed the properties that Kate was just remarking about in terms of how powerful lavender is for soothing the skin and just promoting healing, basically. So as the story and the context of, what we're here to, discuss, lavender is so powerful. But if you had a lavandin, okay, and a lavandin, a lot of you probably have that perhaps in your garden. So the lavandin, if that lavandin oil were applied to that burn, it might worsen a burn. Because the properties of the hybridized form of lavender are not the same as lavender. It might have some of the characteristics of the smell, the aroma, but the therapeutic value is different. And that goes for any oil. So it's really important to know that you have a good essential oil, that there is a reputable company at the top. Having the farms allows us, again, we don't farm all of our own, but we know the distinctions. We know the difference, so to speak, and our oils are tested 8 different ways, both before and after bottling. They're tested to make sure that we don't have the heavy metals or other things. So Young Living has gone to great extreme.
Yeah. And I've experienced that where I'll use another oil that'll be, another kind of lavender or whatever. And I've actually had a skin breakout from something so I won't touch anything else except Young Living. I know people think the other oils, but I'll tell you my experience, that's the one.
And, I've seen some pretty tricky stuff over the years because people know that, I do oils or you get talking and that kind of thing. So we have to have a healthy respect, because anything that is powerful enough to create a change in our human system, we just have to have a little bit of education. And so the first thing that I always talk about is, yes, I do Young Living, and there's a big reason for it. I've been with oils for 20 years. I've seen a lot and, experienced a lot over the years. And this is just the company that I know that is farming the most responsibly. They do reforestation and really take care of Mother Earth. They actually call it the stewardship. So we take our stewardship of the planet and the force of the plants, both for healing and for maintaining a healthy environment, very seriously, as a company. And they spend a lot of time and even down to ensuring that the law of the land is followed with importation and so on and so forth. So if they're taking something, they're not taking an endangered species from someplace else and just bringing it in for money's sake, so to speak. So there's just a really big heart at the center of it, a heart of a healing, heart of a farmer. And so what it leaves us with is a really great product. And so anyhow, let's talk about a couple of the things that I have here. So I'm just going to talk about a few things. We've already talked about some lavender. And lavender is considered the Swiss knife of all oils. It is the mother of all oils. And it is good for pretty much anything. When in doubt, use lavender. It's just one of those that has great properties for the skin, great properties for the nervous system. Most of us know it for its soothing and calming, and I have some lavender cooling mist here with me. So I have a couple of different lavender applications. This first one is a cooling mist that could be just simply kind of sprayed on. Some people will make this at home. It's got a little deionized water, aloe vera, and some lavender, and it can just be taken and kind of sprayed, over the skin. So it's got a nice mist. A lot of people will make something like a linen spray, and just spraying their sheets before bed, they
That's
feel
smart.
like they rest more.
Yeah, I like that.
They can also be a refresher in the morning, so that you feel like your sheets feel refreshed.
Right.
Okay, so that's one of the things. So we have the base oil, and then we also have a line of products that are now FDA approved, and this particular one is. So many of us in the, even going back to that original story in France with René Gattefossé, the chemist that rediscovered, we knew that lavender had these properties, but to be entrenched in the American culture today, you can't really make a claim medically or something without having proper testing. So Young Living went through the process of getting an FDA compliant statement that says that this is for pain and itch, and it's what's called an after sun spray. So if you get a little too much sun, you're on your spring break, or in the summertime, this is just a really great one. And this one has a little different look to it. It's got a little different appearance. It's got more of like a white. The base is very different, but it could be applied topically as an after sun.
Now, a lot of the my subscribers were, because we're paying attention to things like grand solar minimum and the cosmic ray flux, which means an increase in UVs.
Yeah.
So what is it that is great for the skin, to protect the skin when we're out in the sun and we're gardening and what have you?
So Young Living and its dedication, and you have to know that Young Living has plant-based solutions, okay? So we have an oil-infused lifestyle with plant-based solutions. We have over 600 products, everything from cosmetics to baby care to now we have sunscreen, okay? So we do, and it's a mineral-based sunscreen, and so it has an SPF of 10. It's water-resistant for 80 minutes. And so what that means is, if you're out in the sun, for 4 hours, you're going to have to reapply it perhaps once or twice. But it is a very nice, thick skin. There's no nanotized particles, which is a big thing. So a lot of the products in the market today have a nanotized particle, and then they end up under your skin in the dermis and potentially poisoning the skin, basically. And the skin being a large organ. So, you're able to just kind of put that on. And I am obviously very fair-skinned, and this was amazing. Last summer was the first time, because it was introduced last summer, and that was the first time I was able to be out in the sun. Like when I go out in the sun, I go out fully clothed in linen. Even when I go swimming, I know it sounds ridiculous, but if I don't, I just really burn. So I was able to go swimming for, at 45 minutes to an hour with my sunscreen on and didn't suffer a terrible burn. So that was really exciting for me. And so that's a simple thing. Now there's some other things that people have used over the years. We used to use lavender mixed together with some other, like in a base of coconut, carrot seed oil, myrrh oil, mix those oils together and apply them to our skin to just, protect basically the skin from, possibly some of the damage that might happen in the sun. So you don't necessarily have to, but we're loving these simple products that they've put together. And again, we can say that this is a sunscreen because it has been tested and is approved by the FDA. So that's really exciting for us, because we had all of these kind of home remedies, and we all knew to take this and take that, and we would share those recipes on Pinterest or in our Facebook pages or whatever, but we really couldn't say that they were a sunscreen, because that is, like only things that have been, approved.
Right.
So it actually, on the back it says drug facts, kind of thing.
Right.
So you're able to, see that. And that's kind of cool for me as a practitioner, because I can now say, here, Kate, here's a sunscreen. Rather than take this and take that and buy this and then mix it together. And, so it was really exciting to have some of those. So that's lavender. And lavender, again, is just the mother of all oils. One other thing with lavender, and why am I going into lavender? Lavender is so soothing. And Young Living has put lavender in, some other products. And this is called a Tranquil. and it's got some lavender and cedarwood and other things, and then it's a roll-on. So if you're somebody that is, got some stress going on, you can take your roll-on and you can just roll it on the back of your neck, or, take and, your honey's stressing you out or whatever's going on. But you can take and have that. And this is just another application basically of a lavender combined product. And I have found, if you're somebody that is having some sleep challenge or something, any of these applications with lavender, whether you're spraying your sheets, you're rolling a tranquil roll-on, you're putting a couple of drops of lavender on your feet before bed or in a diffuser, it's really going to just help promote, healthy relaxation.
And if you sleep, you're healthier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my first, that when someone comes to me and they're not feeling well, I'm like, okay, hydration and sleep. Like that's
right.
our first two objectives.
That's right.
So so those are really powerful and important things to, for us to talk about when it comes to the oils. So we have not only the essential oil, but essential oil infused products that can, be very useful and helpful.
Now, what about if people if they have infections, again, we're talking about homesteaders, people that may really be off the grid here, you know?
So due to FDA compliance, I can't, unless the product is specifically approved for that, I'm not able to say that I could treat an infection. That would be your responsibility to go and do your own research. And there are companies like Life Science Publishing, Abundant Health. You can go to PubMed. You can do some research on the internet. So if you had a specific infection, you could go and do your own research, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about 5 or 6 oils that are excellent for promoting immunity, okay? So we can support the immune system, and we can create a healthy terrain within our system. And if you're having a little bit more of an immune challenge, you might want to bump that up. Because anytime we've got an immune challenge going, and this is a general statement about immunity, if you're coming down with a cold, you've got more acid, within the system, and many of the oils neutralize acids. So they're oxygenating, they're going to naturally go through the skin topically, go transdermally into the system, and can be used in whatever system the body needs. One day I might need it to kind of help my mental attitude, if you will, and the next day I need it for my immune system and my innate intelligence. My body knows the difference. It knows what it needs. And they've actually even demonstrated that praying before or setting an intention with an oil can improve the efficacy up to 30%. You're taking a smart, natural product or ingredient, and you're putting it with your smart, natural brain, and you just need to ask the body what it is that you need, and that is the ultimate of frequency. Okay, and essential oils have some of the highest frequencies known. Okay, and so we can talk. We could do a whole class just on frequency and the power of that. No different than your sound frequencies that you use. When things are combined together, we can raise our frequency and promote health. So anyhow, let's see. Thieves.
We all know about thieves.
RC.
Oh, RC,
frankincense.
Huh? What of RC?
5, and then we'll go with peppermint. All right. So these are the white labeled ones are for ingestion. They're safe for ingestion. They can be used for ingestion. So we're going to talk about them as if they're going to be ingested. Okay. So I'm going to start with Copaiba. Copaiba comes from the rainforest. It is the only essential oil. Yes, I'm picking kitty hairs out of the hair.
I told them it's like an old Mae West movie where she said the last time I had a fur coat, the dog was shedding. I just feel like that is the story of my life.
So yes, I'm covered in kitty hair, but it's very lovely here with Kate.
Okay.
So we have Copaiba, and most of our essential oils, they take the plant materia, they basically pack it into a big cooker, okay? And we could even like use the example of the rice cooker and kind of, like imagine a rice cooker, and you pack the plant material in there, and then it has to literally be stomped like grapes to make sure that there's no air in between. They put water on, and then each plant it's heated to its specific temperature, and then the oil is released. Okay, so that is the process of what's called distillation. That is how lavender and every other oil and oil combination is created, except this one. This one is like maple syrup. It's literally tapped directly from the tree. They have to go about a day and a half into the Brazilian rainforest by boat and, weird flights and everything like that to get to the trees that have this particular oil. It is very high in a constituent called beta-caffeoylene, and that ingredient is beta-caffeoylene as like a compound or a chemical name is a natural anti-inflammatory. So copaiba is super soothing, super gentle. It's just got a great aroma.
Like it's so earth. It's earth.
It's
natural. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's super gentle. Something, and I will tell you that even my moms, as a practitioner and a doula, I work with a lot of moms, and they will apply this to their baby's gums. Okay, so it's one of those, but it's also great for promoting immunity, and great in conjunction with other oils. In our oily circle, we call it the great amplifier. No matter what it's put with, it amplifies and the positive effect, basically. So that's a really great one. And then we've got peppermint. Peppermint is cooling. It's soothing. It's a great digestive tonic. Yeah. Everybody knows peppermint for digestive tonic and that kind of thing. So it's super healthy for calming the digestion. If I'm going out and I'm gardening in the summertime, I will take some water and I'll put a drop in there. So on a 90-degree day, I still feel comfortable outside gardening.
Oh, wow, that's a really good tip.
It helps to keep me cool.
And that's with the peppermint. Oh, that's a great tip. Okay.
So there's so many different ways. Imagine anything that needs to be cooled in the body, and that could be anything from digestion to even sometimes we've injured ourselves and there might be the need for cooling, okay, in the body. This one for me is great for my respiratory system. If I'm having respiratory challenge, I just take and layer that peppermint up. It works for me. A lot of people would respond to the thieves when they're trying to work with their respiratory system or immune boosting. Thieves is like my preventative. Okay, if I've gotten something and I have an active something going on, then I use peppermint. So every system is different, and that's why it's good to have a variety of oils to explore and find your own chemistry. And I just want to say something to Kate's audience, because I think this is really powerful and important. And we were having a conversation, and with my oil and homeopathic and natural lifestyle, I don't need to go to a physician. Basically, and I haven't taken a medication in 25 years, and it has been using these and knowing these properties. So yes, essential oils are a bit of an investment, but people will say, well, oils are expensive or living healthy is expensive. Well, try illness. I mean, illness care today is the biggest reason that people file bankruptcy. I mean, it's just, our system is bankrupt when it comes to healthcare. And it's part of the reason that I do what I'm doing is I'm so passionate about families living healthy and natural. And it might not happen in the first 6 months or 2 years that people start into my practice, but usually within 3 to 5 years, they really have gained enough insight into what their families need, using some of the oils, using some of the modalities that we use in the practice, that they really... They find it far more interesting to invest in their own health and self and family.
And that's just, you're just seeing that so much now.
Yeah, it's just people are not interested in...
Oils would have sounded like voodoo about 20 years ago, and now it's just,
Yeah, when I first started, it was just kind of like, oily what?
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and I felt like I was...
Yeah, believe me, I know.
Yeah. So kudos to the millennial generation. I'm giving the millennial generation some kudos because they're actually the ones that have come in and really said, all right, give us like the real stuff.
Right.
And in your generation, there was like some people that really like held the torch.
Hippies, yeah.
Like you really held the torch. You're like,
what's wrong with everybody? You know, we knew in the 60s, damn it. Yeah.
And when I first started, 16, 17 years ago, I was the youngest person, there because it was a bunch of hippies, basically that were, using the oil. So getting back to our discussion here, peppermint, thieves. Thieves, if you don't know the story of thieves, I'll tell it really quickly. During the bubonic plague, which was in the 13th, 14th, 15th century, somewhere in there.
Grand solar minimum. Not the grand solar minimum, but solar minimum. Go ahead.
The 1/5 of Europe died, as part of it. All of Europe was quarantined, and so the spice traders basically put their spices together and put them on their body, ingested them, and were grave robbers, effectively. In the day, the people were buried with their silver and so on and so forth. And so anyhow, when they were caught, they were given the choice of sharing their recipe for a more lenient sentence or, not giving their recipe and facing a sure hanging. So they ended up giving up their recipe, and it survived in the French medical text and other medical books throughout history. And it's basically cinnamon, clove, lemon, rosemary, and eucalyptus. Did I say eucalyptus? Clove, cinnamon, lemon, rosemary, and eucalyptus. Mm-hmm. So the thieves is super powerful. We actually have an entire line of products just on thieves. So this is the Thieves Vitality. So this would be something that if I were working with, let's say, Kate, and Kate asked me, like, how could I boost my immune system? And Kate had some respiratory stuff going on. I might take some honey and put like 3 or 4 drops and give it to her as like a spoonful. I might also take and open up a veggie capsule, an empty veggie capsule, and drop 4 to 6 drops in there, and then maybe put a little olive oil and dilute it, because the inside is sensitive and having an oil diluted. There's another one of these that is it's thieves, but it's a bigger bottle. They're basically the same oil. The only difference is the label due to FDA compliance. But I might take and put that thieves in my diffuser. I might rub that on my feet or put it on topically. So that's one of the most powerful things that you could do for your immune system. This is actually a blend, and it's the brown bottle version of it that I use, but I diffuse it all the time. It helps protect the home and just promote so that you're, if there's microorganisms in the air or something in different seasons, the most polluted air in the world is our indoor air. We have all of these paints and gases and carpets and the things that are off-gassing. So it's really powerful to keep that healthy. And I use the Thieves Cleaner to, clean the home and so on and so forth.
I use the Thieves mouthwash and the Thieves toothpaste.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So we now have like a dishwasher detergent, and it's so, you just need little bits of it. I mean, I've had the same, I have the foaming hand soap. I literally wash all of my fruits and vegetables. There is a fruit and vegetable wash. So even things that are grown organically, you still, when before you prepare your food, you're still going to wash. So not necessarily the oil, but there is the fruit and veggie wash that can be used to just clean vegetables and that kind of thing. And so that's really powerful. So it's just an amazing product. Yeah, it is. The combination of oils is so powerful.
Cough drops.
The cough drops. I
have one in my mouth right now.
Yeah, so the cough drops are approved, just like any cough drop to, soothe the sore throat, all of those type of things. And again, that's an FDA compliant statement. So now I have RC. RC actually is a formula that predates even the founding of Young Living. So this is some eucalyptuses. There's 3 eucalyptuses, some lavender, and then myrtle, which is kind of like a eucalyptus, myrtle is. But it's very clean scent. It's one that a lot of people will diffuse. I recommend diffusing like in the bedroom at night. So for those of you that are seasonal sufferers, and you know what I'm trying to say as a seasonal sufferer, I know you do, that the RC is fantastic. for diffusing. And this is one that I actually use even with small children, diluted, of course. And I wanted to mention that Young Living actually has kind of, like if this is the adult version, this is the children's version. It's called Sniffles. And so it's already diluted. And so that's powerful because children and pets really need things. They have, real young children, like newborns to 3 months, they have an immature skin barrier. So we don't really want to be applying an essential oil direct. It's better to make sure until you know your own baby to, just have it diluted. Older people tend to have a thinning of the skin, in particular if they're on any forms of medications and other things. So again, you have to be careful to, not maybe have the sensitivity even just to nature, okay? Kate mentioned oregano. Oregano is very hot. Like if the first time I put that on my skin, I was bright red.
I can't put it on my skin, no.
And that's
unless
natural.
I'm putting it right on a mole or something I'm trying to get rid of.
Yep.
And then then it's just fine. But on my bare skin, no.
So it's really important to understand nature. So oregano is a hot oil. Cinnamon is a hot oil. So you want to dilute those. And they've removed the oils that have that type of skin reactivity and made a kid scent line. So you can safely use it. The kids, as the kids get to be 5, 6, 7, they can have their own little bottle of oil that they can use. And so that's fun. So if you're wondering about kids or grandkids, there's kind of the RC is called Sniffles, and there's one for digestion as well. So anyhow, but RC is fantastic. And then frankincense. And most people think of frankincense. I'm not sure what you think about frankincense. It's mentioned over 50 times biblically. So if you have a biblical-based knowledge of frankincense, often used for anointings and so on, but it actually is amazing for the immune system. It is just profound for the immune system. And I'll tell a quick story. We are the only company that has frankincense from Oman. It is called Sacred Frankincense in our lineup, and it's Boswellia sacchara. And Boswellia is the name for frankincense, basically. So in the country where it comes from, in Oman, now it's a desert country, but the pediatrician, his name is Dr. Suhail, and Dr. Suhail says he sees about 1 to 2 cases of pediatric cancer a year, and that's it. Now you could say, well, maybe it's because they're in the desert or something like that. And he believes actually because it is customary in Oman to diffuse frankincense, that he believes just the inhaling of frankincense, because they burn the resin on a daily basis. And back during the time of the caravans, when frankincense and myrrh and everything were traded, how they washed their clothes was literally by diffusing frankincense. They would hang the clothes and do that. They didn't have water. Like water was a commodity. Wow. So they would use the frankincense in order to wash the clothing. So frankincense is versatile. It is powerful. It is amazing for meditation. It is amazing for the immune system. It's just one of those oils that it's so complementary. So I gifted Kate some frankincense and copaiba today. Yeah. So she got the big bottles.
From her oily world to my furry world.
Yeah, right? And so frankincense is just so powerful for anointing and blessing, but also immune system. And it could be applied topically. It could be diffused. And so there is a frankincense vitality that is not in this kit, which means it has a white label that could be used for ingestion as well. And again, just as a reminder, there is no difference in the oils. It is simply one of those governmental things that says, and so you hear me speaking in that sense as well.
Right.
So that is great for the immune system and just keeping. So these oils are oils that would be in my emergency kit. Okay.
So
like
is there like a starter kit? Are they in the starter kit?
They are in the starter kit. And so the starter kit that you're seeing here that we've talked about, some of the properties of the oils and how to use them, it's $160, and it comes with a diffuser.
That's really affordable.
It is. And
really, that's a lot of
so there's
oils.
11 different oils that come with that, and there's some juice, and there's some of the thieves, cleaner. There's a sample of the thieves cleaner. There's some roller balls, so you could turn it. I was showing the roller. This is one that I made up. This is my raindrop roll-on. So I took 5 drops of each of the 9 raindrop oils, and then I put a little bit of V6 in there. Yes, I'm still getting hair. And I and so like that's just one of those that I love to roll on. And so if I'm having an immune challenge, basically because I've had a lot of respiratory challenges throughout my life, this is what I use. And I'll actually take those 9 oils and just apply them to my feet, get my chicken soup, get my diffuser going, and just sleep for 24 hours.
I do want to, what was it that I wanted to touch on that? Oh gosh, I just forgotten, like something that comes up all the time to address with oil, and now it just slipped. Oh well, maybe we should talk about oil for memory. Okay.
Oil for memory.
Which
we have those too.
Isn't it rosemary?
Rosemary is wonderful for promoting
memory?
a healthy
if you
memory.
put it here, I think I read somewhere putting rosemary there.
And
I'll make sure to apply that later today.
And that's a traditional. That's definitely a traditional one. So, I forgot to mention when we were talking about these. Speaking of forgetting, the waterless hand sanitizer, and I've actually used this with my little kitty. When she had some injury, and I just kind of used it as a way to help her, heal her skin.
Yeah, little B had an ear infection and nothing worked for it, nothing. And I go to a naturopathic vet, and my friend Jen made out on the West Coast, who's all naturopathic, and nothing worked. And then finally I just said, I'm dropping 2 drops of oregano oil in his ear. And I know. I mean, I was kind of at my end because he was miserable. And we just never saw another infection. It was gone. Now, I know it was irritating to it. I know, but I was kind of desperate. It didn't hurt him. It was just,
We generally don't recommend dropping oils directly.
Don't do what I say.
Yeah, don't do what she says. Don't do what Kate says.
No. I do the gangster version of the oils.
That is so funny. So, anyhow, so with the kit at $160, there's diffuser selections that you can choose, and what else was I going to say? So I have been with Young Living for 16 years, so I have quite a large group. I've got over 5,000 members in my group, and we do a Facebook page. I do online teachings and trainings.
And we'll put that in the link below, your Facebook page. So people, since they're all over the world that are subscribers, can they go to your Facebook page, and then would you be able to refer them to people that they can get their Young Living from in that area, or
so
how would that work?
They could join our group because Young Living is an international group. And then they would receive. Now, you could join, our group that we have, and it's called YL Momentum. And then you could attend local classes. So Young Living, I'm trying to remember how many countries we're in now, but every year it grows in terms of expansion and that kind of thing. So, it just depends upon that individual. Yes, you could find somebody like a distributor locally that you could partner with and work together with. But in today's virtual reality, I have, people that are all over the United States that I work together with on a regular basis in terms of mentoring, coaching, health coaching.
Should we put your contact information
there?
That
would be awesome.
Okay, because, I don't want to overwhelm you either.
Nope, I would love to be able to support your community because you're the people that I most like to touch.
Right.
You're most willing to make the changes that are necessary and prepare your lifestyle to have a couple $100 worth of oils that could be used for such a variety of things.
Right.
And, be willing to really learn.
And then when you're on that Facebook, in that Facebook community or whatever, is you can ask questions. I was a part of that until I left Facebook, but I was a part of that community, and that people share information.
And I have a YouTube channel. I have a website that I'm posting because I know a lot of people don't care for Facebook and the format. I use the Facebook because I can do a live video I can do a 5-minute and a half hour and do some education. But if you're somebody that doesn't, my business is Upright Health and Wellness. And if you go on there, there is a section in there where you'll find a ton of Facebook Lives that we've converted to YouTube. And we're about to start doing kind of what you're doing here with YouTube.
Good.
And, recording some of them and getting them out to people.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
So.
Okay, so wasn't this cool? I told you, she's so cool. All right, so Kathryn, thank you.
You're amazing.
Really,
Kate. Thank
you.
And I love your dedication to, the healthy community and everything that you have worked so diligently for.
It's so much fun to share it, isn't it?
It is.
That's when it's really fun. All right, everybody. So, thanks Nick Rencilio, who no longer has a life because I try to dominate it daily to shoot videos. He's nodding yes. But anyways, Radical Gardener, from my garden to yours, may your garden always grow, and I'm sending you tons of love. Okay, everybody? All right, thanks. Bye.